What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Power Play with CJ. To focus in on our New York Islanders season preview and what to expect from one of the East's, surprise teams last year. Remember, on the eve of the season, they, made deals, landed Johnny Boychuk and Nick Leddy from, the Boston Bruins, Chicago Blackhawks, respectively, and took advantage of their salary cap situations. Got two pretty good defensemen that have won Stanley Cups, and plugged them into the lineup, and made sure they got locked them up long term. And they're building blocks on the blue line. I mean, you look at their. Let's start with the D. Love Travis Hamonic. Calvin DeHaan is has had his ups and downs, but pretty solid all around player. Brian Strait, I know, is maligned by Islanders fans, but as a local guy and a guy that watched him play a lot of BU, kind of got a soft spot for the Waltham, Massachusetts native. Thomas Hickey was a bust in the Kings organization, and really hit his stride with the Islanders, and is playing like a legitimate NHL defenseman. Is he going to be a star? No, but he can play in the league. Kind of one of those things. Maybe you don't live up to your draft expectations somewhere, but you go somewhere else, given a clean slate and everything, and you're an entirely different player. Just the way it works. Ryan Pulock, I guess, is really pushing for a job in Islanders camp, which could really make things complicated with the amount of defensemen they have on one-way deals. But confident Garth Snow, could swing a deal and get some decent assets back. So see what happens with that. D is pretty straightforward. Again, the seven aforementioned guys. I mean, maybe at some point this season, you see one of the prospects. But I mean, I look at it as Griffin Reinert's obviously out of the organization. I thought he really could push it for a spot, but he gets a legitimate chance with Edmonton, so good on him. But again, back to the rest of the team. Obviously, one of the most talented forward cores in the league. Anytime you have a perennial MVP candidate like John Tavares in your lineup, you can expect to win a lot of games. But it doesn't begin and end with Tavares. Signing Brock Nelson to that extension, making sure he was in camp, making sure he's part of the team. That's important. He really had a good year, good first half of the year. Kind of tailed off towards the end of the season, but he's a player. He can play at this level. I've been a fan of him since his days at Wall Road High School, and he's really showing the upside that made him a first-round pick in the 2010 draft. Likewise, Ryan Strome came on strong last year. Love watching him play. He's trying to prove he's the best Strome, and he'll be trying to prove that he's the best Strome in the NHL this season. So see how that works out. Obviously, his brother Dylan was the third pick in the draft by the Coyotes. Okposo entering a contract here. He's gonna want to get himself paid. Islanders are going to want to keep him in the fold, but also win hockey games. So that's going to be the underlying storyline of the season. Will they break the bank for him, or will they say, what, screw it? We have enough talented young kids in the organization where we're not going to tie down $6 million to Kyle Okposo, who I love as a player, but I'm not so sure I'd give $6 million to. Straight up. It's just like, it's a salary cap driven league. You have to make these decisions. They're not easy decisions. The Islanders were the beneficiary of teams making salary cap based decisions in the Boychuk and Leddy trades. Now they could be on the other end of it. It's just one of those. It's like, anytime there's a set number of dollars you're allowed to spend, you gotta make cuts to make sure you don't go over that. It's just the way it goes. But he's a hell of a player. He's come on strong in the last two seasons and emerged as one of the better Americans in the NHL. I like Anders Lee. I know people are still bashing with the column I wrote for Rant Sports. Early last season, I said they should trade him because they weren't giving him consistent NHL ice time, and I think a kid like that, needs top 6 minutes. They gave it to him, and look what he's done. He's really broken out and shown that he can play at this level and play a really good offensive game. Matt Barzal's still in camp. He's not going to make the team. He's 18. He's coming off a season where he was injury plagued. Fell to the Islanders in the draft. I don't know why the Bruins didn't draft him. And he'll be him, Dal Cole, and Josh Ho-Sang. And I've talked about Ho-Sang enough. But those three young forwards are three really, really, really good young players that could potentially turn into trade assets down the stretch. I mean, the Islanders were looking to make a splash in that first year in Brooklyn. Talked about that ad nauseum, and being able to have not only a bright future with these guys, but also, if you need, let's just say Hamilton goes down, you need a defenseman. You can parlay these guys assets into something, and that's gonna be something to keep an eye on going forward. Crease situation. Yaroslav Halak had his moments last year. I mean, he gives them some level of consistency between the pipes, which they lacked a lot. They were DiPietros of the world. They had Dwayne Rolson at one point. He's a mighty B-Rod. But I mean, Halak was pretty consistent #1 for them last year. Bottom third of the league in save percentage of goals against, but I thought he got off to a good start, and I thought Sands was it game 5 against Washington. I thought he was pretty good against the Capitals. I thought he had a pretty good series. So again, one of those things. Could they be looking to improve between the pipes down the stretch? Sure, but I don't hate Halak as much as some people do. So I think he's shown he can be a pretty decent NHL goalie, and unless you're gonna get his former understudy Carey Price from walk that door, take the consistency and see if you can develop something from the inside. But can they win the cup with Yaroslav Halak? I mean, Chicago did it with Corey Crawford. That's always been my go-to. And I think in the year 2014, Jonathan Quick sucked for the Kings, and they still won the cup. So one of those things to keep an eye on. But again, is he mediocre? Yeah, but I'd take it at this point. They've had so many shitty goalies over the years. Mediocre is like an upgrade. So again, the Islanders, they're in that second rung in the Eastern Conference. The big three in the East are Montreal, Tampa, and New York, in their crossover rivals, New York Rangers. After that, you get the Islanders, you got Pittsburgh, maybe Ottawa, teams like that are good, but can they break through to that next level? Columbus is definitely in that mix as well. I still have Columbus in the Western Conference in my head, which goes to show you. So let's go through the rungs of the Eastern Conference. Big three. Then that second level, the Islanders, Capitals, Penguins, Blue Jackets, Senators. I mean, those 5 right there. And then kind of like the bottom feeders, if you will. I don't see the Bruins in that rung anymore, which is a Beast fan pain to say, but it's just a reality. And then a bunch of rebuilding squads. So, I think the Islanders have a chance to make some noise in Brooklyn this year, and we'll see how it all works out. I'm excited to watch the development of these players and what comes next for the squad. Anyway, that's our episode of the Power Play with CJ. Stay tuned for more episodes throughout the offseason and beyond. Later, guys.